I'm Tracy Osborne, and you're listening to the Daring Woman podcast. Imagine the story of a generation being altered by women who were empowered to live their truth and in turn can empower others to live theirs. It's time to rewrite the narrative. There's a lot that happens within our military that people think about, and they honor the men and women who serve, and there's all this great stuff to help our vets. There could be more, but there's still a lot of great stuff out there to help them. But what I don't know, or what I don't see a whole lot of, is the support that's needed for the spouses of military people, because it can't be easy to be married to somebody who is putting their life on the line to save our country and having to pack up and move every few years and, this, that, and the other. So joining me today is Annette Whittenberger, who is a military spouse. And also, you were also a Army vet too, is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your service, and thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you so much.
Now, it can't be easy, not only being in the service yourself, but then also being a military spouse. And I don't know of too many support groups or anything, and maybe there are out there, but it's got to be tough.
Yes, it is. I'm not going to lie.
Now, you were also a chemical officer, right? And
yes, I was.
You were in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yes, I was.
So, on top of everything else that we've got, you've got the PTSD and anxiety and depression from being over in that nightmare.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit? Let's start with your backstory. Tell us a little bit about you, and then we're going to talk about this wild ride called life, as I stumble over my tongue today. Let's just go have some fun with it.
Okay. So yes, as you stated, I retired. Oh gosh, almost 3 years ago. We have two teenagers. One, I have a freshman in college, and then I have a sophomore in high school. Over the course of my time serving, I did develop the PTSD, depression, anxiety, and I kept it quiet for a very long time. One, because, there is that stigma that's out there.
Sure.
Some people think it's being weak, not all. Some just professionally, I tried to remain strong and tough, and I just trying to prove myself as a soldier, a female, and a mom, trying to handle it all. I thought I could do it all, and it takes a toll on you. And then you're trying to keep your role as a military spouse as well, and that it just gets so overwhelming, and you're trying to balance it all. And you're not trying to be perfect, but you're trying to be a good role model. You wanted that person that looks like they have it together, I guess. And that's it's I'm not saying it's right, but sometimes that's just how we feel. That, and then, after I retired, it was no longer, I'm not perfect. I don't have it together. I need help. And that's how it came about. I was no longer going to pretend anymore, because that's not real life. And when you hold it all in, you just kind of lose yourself.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you combine that, being a woman who we're already supposed to just have our shit together no matter what anyway.
Right.
Be super mom, super woman, superhero. And then you add the military on top of that with all their rigidity and expectations. And then on top of that, you toss in the mental health aspect of it, and there is a stigma attached to that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a perfect storm right there.
Yes.
So how have you been able to handle and cope with the PTSD, the anxiety, and the depression now that you're out of the service?
So just a few months before I was gonna be retired, it took a toll on me because I wasn't ready. I thought I had more time and I didn't, and I started writing about it. It was more for me, for no one to read, no one to really know about. But then the more I talked to, I had former soldiers that I still keep in contact with. The more I spoke with them about just some similarities we were going through, just being sad about getting out, just all these feelings, I decided that I wasn't going to hide it anymore. I was going to write it. And it was going to be for whoever wants to see it. And one day that title just popped in my head. It was just so weird. I said, you know what? It is a wild ride called life. It's so crazy how our life just changes. It's just wild and it's crazy. And I stuck with it. And then I created a website, and then I started blogging, and then it just hit everywhere. I said, well, I'm going to share it, and it's going to be on every social media platform that it could be, and whether people don't like it. I've had people who are like, why, how can you share all that about your life? And I said, because you know what? I'm going to help somebody. If I can help one person that's going through the same thing feel like they're not alone, then it's going to be worth it. As embarrassing as it is, I'm telling my deepest secrets, from sad to happy, then that's just how it's going to be. It's
Right.
real. So.
Right. So, I also suffer from depression. I have for years,
Mm-hmm.
and I've tried to just ignore it. Not realize that I'm going through an episode, everything I could just to stay off medication. And,
Mm-hmm.
I finally, a couple of years ago, broke down, and I was like, you know what, I've got to be on the medication. There's such a mindset, I think, around depression and medication and all of that. And I know that you're also, just from looking at your website, you're also on medication for that. So,
Yes.
How did you make that decision to, come out of the depression shell and say, I've got to get help? And who did you reach out to?
This is a hard one. When my daughter was 10, this was 8 years ago, I had a very bad breakdown, and I missed her birthday, and she still to this day remembers that. And it breaks my heart. I knew then, and I was going through a military school, and I was trying to hold it together. And when I went through that, that's when I was like, this is crazy. I can't do it. I can't, I needed medication. Unfortunately, I needed it. And there's nothing wrong with it. And when people ask about it, or they talk about it, I'll tell them, yep, I'm on Prozac, but I need it because when I tried to be off of it, it just wasn't working. And not everybody agrees with it, and everybody has their own way of coping with it. But for me, that was it. When I missed her birthday, and even now, I've had some meltdowns. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to happen. But now I know what I need to do. I'm going to cry it out. I'm going to stay in my room for a minute. My husband's going to come in and say, okay, what are you doing? I thought you wanted to help people. He'll give me the tough talk where I'm looking at him like, you don't know.
Kiss my butt, buddy. I'm just going to stay here in bed with the blankets covered my head. So
Exactly. So he'll give me a few hours, and he'll be like, okay, you got to get up. And I'll think about it. I'll pout about it. And then I'll get up and I'll say, okay. So, yeah.
Yeah. You have to allow those emotions to happen, and you have to just go through the emotions. If you're having an anxiety attack, you have to just kind of work through it. And when you're having a depression episode, it just, you've got to do what you can to get through it. And sometimes that is just staying in bed all day with the blankets pulled up over your head and sleeping. And sometimes we have to do that.
Absolutely.
And it's great when our support team knows and understands that and will allow us to have those moments, but then also will come in and say, okay, time's up. You're done wallowing in self-pity. Time to get off the pity pot and let's go, brush your teeth or something.
Right.
And the other thing is, mental health issues do cause us to miss out on things. And I know that it's, I'm a mom too, and it's tough. Mm. They don't understand. And, yes. They're all about, well, mom is indestructible. So why is she hiding her head like she's a freaking ostrich today?
Right.
And you have to forgive yourself. I know that it kills you that you missed your daughter's birthday that one time and that she still remembers it. But you've got to forgive yourself for that.
Yes.
Because you'll never get over it and you'll never move past it. And it's done. It's over. It's in the past. You can't relive that birthday. You can't bring it back, but you can make the others just as good or even better. Right.
Right. Exactly.
So what are you doing to help yourself move past those kinds of things and just really stay in the moment?
One of the things that I tell other people, and I tell myself, it's okay to not be okay. It is. You're gonna, like you said, you're gonna go through it, as long as you know that you're gonna pick yourself back up, and you'll start again tomorrow, or you'll start again in a few hours. It's okay. We don't always have to have perfect days. It's gonna happen, right. And knowing, and writing is my therapy. I know I have to put it on paper, and if I share it, I share it. If I don't, I don't. But I usually do. I usually share everything, and I get feedback and thank you for sharing it, or wow, I didn't know you were going through this, stuff like that. It's just, that's what helps me. But yes, I'm gonna go through it, and then I'm gonna get back up. And that's not, I try to help people with that, because it's okay. You could cry about it. You could be depressed for a minute, but just remember that we're still here. We woke up another day. We're here for a reason, and we still have a story to tell, and we still have other people to help. And that's I think that's the biggest thing.
Sometimes you just gotta pull up those big girl panties and tough it out, right?
Yes, exactly.
Because, life is going to happen to us no matter what. And right. How we choose to handle what life tosses our way is completely up to us. And we're going to have our downtimes. Even if we don't have mental health issues, we're going to have our downtimes, right?
Oh, yes.
There's up days, down days, and in between days. And you could have all of the emotions within 10 minutes. You never know.
Yes.
But the point is to experience the emotions, allow yourself to feel and process, but don't allow those emotions to take over and take control.
Yes.
Yes. Have you seen the movie Inside Out?
Is it the cartoon?
It's the Disney one. Yeah, I bring this movie up a lot on the show because that is such a great visual for me of what happens when you let one emotion take control and don't let the others have a say in mind, to complete chaos reign. And that's exactly what happens with us.
Yes.
And I love that you say it's okay to not be okay. That is just absolutely the perfect statement right there, because it absolutely is. And it's okay to be able to say, I need help.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think, just as women in general, we're there's this expectation that we're not allowed to ask for help.
Yeah.
We're just supposed to do it all.
Not true. Not true. And that's what I try to teach my daughter when she calls me crying at school because she's so stressed out. Okay, it's okay. You're going to make it. If you need a tutor, ask for a tutor. There's no shame in it.
Yeah.
Call me anytime you want. And I'm very blessed to have that relationship with her, but that now I'm trying to be that role model for her, even though she's seen me go through all this stuff. She has still seen me come out of it too, or coping with it, living with it. Because now, I'm choosing to not suffer from it. Before I was suffering. Now I'm deciding to just live with it. This is me. This is it. And this is how I'm going to get through it.
Yeah. I love it. And I love that you turned to writing. When I did the From Survivor to Thriver Summit a few weeks ago, that was probably the number one tool that all of our Thrivers said helped them get through whatever nightmare they had walked through was journaling and writing. Whether it was, having a blog and putting it out there for the world to see, or just a private journal that nobody sees but them. Mm-hmm. Getting it out of your head was the most important thing, right up there with, having your support system. But it was definitely one of the most important tools for people.
That's awesome.
Whether you're a writer or not,
Right.
And I agree with that. And, there's so much that I put out in the public myself too. And my response is the same as yours. It's, if my story helps somebody else, just one other person, then it was worth putting out there.
Yes, I love it. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So, what's next? What's next for you?
Oh gosh. So my goal is to get this book done by the end of the year. I want it published by the beginning of next year. I want to get on stage. I want to speak. I want to do more than
get out there and help those women.
Yeah. I mean, not that blogging isn't a big deal. It is a big deal, but I know that I want to do more. I want to get out there. I want to talk about it. I want to share with more people, that we can make it.
Yeah.
We can.
So for those who are listening who are military spouses, in the military, out of the military, just, whatever it is that's going on in their lives, and they're just, at that point where something needs to give. What do you have to tell them? What do they do?
Don't be afraid to say something. Don't be afraid to reach out to a friend or another vet or another female, another military spouse, whoever. Or if you don't want to talk to a professional, don't be afraid to say, look, this is what I'm going through. I need help. I need to talk to somebody, because there's so many suicides lately because they don't know what to do. And it's heartbreaking, because I wish I could have, we all wish we could have been there to save them. But I think the more that we're just open and the more that we try to reach out, I think it makes a difference. We just need to keep trying to make more of a difference. And, it's going to be okay. And I promise, I mean, I've been through a lot. We all have been through a lot that we haven't shared or that we have shared. And I think that's just a huge thing right now, is don't be afraid to say something, because we go so long trying to keep it inside that one day we're going to explode. And it's just not, we can't keep doing that. I don't know, it just breaks my heart.
I know. And, and I want to toss something out there for you listeners too. If you're having those moments, you need somebody to talk to. I want you to, remember the crisis text line. It is, there's always certified crisis counselors waiting for you. It's totally free. It's completely anonymous.
Yes.
So whatever you do, whatever you talk about stays there. Nobody knows who you are or anything like that, right? All
Yes.
you have to do is just text hello to 741-741, and a crisis counselor will be waiting to talk to you. Sometimes it does take a couple minutes, and especially if it's like at night or something during our peak times, you may have to wait a little bit, but there will be a live person coming on to talk to you. And
Absolutely.
you can also go to their Facebook page and the Crisis Text Line Facebook page, and you can send a message through their messenger, and it will also connect you with somebody. So definitely reach out if you're feeling down, you're feeling depressed, you're just not sure which way is up, you feel like giving up. Reach out and talk to somebody.
Absolutely.
For sure. All right. Well, Annette, thank you so much for joining us. It was great talking with you. And again, thank you so much for your service. That's just something that we can't thank our vets and our active military enough for.
Thank you very much for having me on. It means a lot to me. Thank you.
No, it's my pleasure. Ladies, as always, thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Again, if you need that number again, text hello to 741-741, and a trained certified crisis counselor will be waiting to talk to you. Have a great week, and we will talk to you next week on the show.